Love Sports. And my name is Chuck Burrs, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Mr. Robert Kennedy.
How you doing, Chuck?
Fresh off the physically unable to perform list, so we're happy to have Robert back. And we have a new person sitting here. And again, it's Brandy.
Hi.
Hey, you're a fine girl.
Thank you.
You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
Looking glass. So, Brandy, tell us what's going on at Miller's. A little bit closer to the mic.
That's a great question, just because I just got back. It's my first day back, so I have no idea.
When was your birthday?
My birthday?
No, she said first day back.
Oh,
Not-
first day back. Oh, from where?
From Thanksgiving break, I went home.
Where is home?
Chuck might have gone
Augusta,
too deep with the
Georgia.
Q-tip.
What?
Do you know where Augusta, Georgia is?
I do, yeah.
The Masters and everything. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool. What brought you up here? Do you go to KSU?
I do. I go to KSU.
So, you know, at 7 o'clock, we do a show all about KSU sports.
Well, I knew y'all did do a
You knew they did that? So how long have you been working here at Miller's?
over a year.
Oh, at Miller. And what is your favorite thing to eat here at Miller's?
I would have to say the Big Red.
Robert's had the Big Red a few times,
That's
hasn't
the
he?
only thing I've actually had more than once. I probably
Yeah.
had 3 of them.
The Big Red.
It's pretty good.
And your favorite drink?
My favorite drink.
And don't say all of them like Bailey does.
My favorite drink would just have to be just a strawberry lemonade.
Strawberry lemonade? I'm a club soda guy, so I
Love
get that.
soda.
Yeah. So everybody should come out and see Brandy,
Yes, come
And-
see me.
see her pretty face, and make sure you tip her well.
They're
And-
not here for their health.
They're not that exactly. So this is crab night, right? Wednesday night is crab night, and Thursday night is prime rib night.
Prime rib.
And which one of those two you like best?
Thursday.
Thursday, love that prime rib, right?
Prime rib is good.
All right. Well, Brandy, thanks for sitting in with us. You guys get a little commercial every day, and you're welcome back anytime. You brighten up this scene. All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Meet y'all.
Thanks, Brandy. And with Brandy leaving, we'll bring on our guest of the week, Mr. Simon Block. Everybody, a round of applause for Simon. There you go, Larry. All right.
hello.
Larry clapping for his cousin. Larry sounds like he's got like 50 pairs of hands when he does that, doesn't he?
He does.
He's good.
A very talented
He's
person.
very strong. That's where the noise comes
Simon,
from.
welcome, buddy.
Well, thank you guys for having me out here today.
You bet. So a little bit about Three Guys Who Love Sports. We're a show to help support guys that are going through some physical issues, mental issues, that just need an escape for an hour, and we're happy to help. And our theory is if we help and you help and everybody else helps, this world will be a better place. If you want to comment on something that we're saying, you can text us at 470-7-SPORTS. That's 470-7-SPORTS. And we'll be announcing at the end of the show today about a contest that we will be having in concern of, what is that?
That was like money.
Oh,
You might
money.
win money in a
You might win
contest.
like a gift card here
Trying
to
to,
Miller's.
trying to keep them around for the whole show.
So it's a college bowl tub selection show. So we'll talk about that at the end of the day. But right for now, we're going to get into our first segment, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on this week. What have we missed this week?
There's a bunch of people in the Middle East watching football.
I believe it's
Not
called
our
soccer.
football, their football.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I do like that commercial with Peyton Manning.
That's a
going back and
very,
forth.
very good commercial.
I like that one a lot.
So we obviously got kicked out by Netherlands 3-1 last Saturday. Are we happy to be where we are? Are we happy just to get out of the round of 16? Is that a big plus for us? Or
We are. We're glad to make it because we're never a guarantee for being one of the top 32. So making it's really good. And then coming out of the group stage is very big.
Group B or Group C, whatever it
Doesn't
was?
matter as long as you make it to the knockout round. You know you have put yourself on a pedestal, and we are so far from the top 16th team in probably the world because all these other countries, it's their favorite sport. So you know the first 9 teams when you look at their rankings, what's your favorite sport? Soccer. Come to football. Baseball and basketball and
football.
hockey and then, and then soccer. So,
Soccer's somewhere down the list.
but it's the little steps, and we're making it.
Little steps are good. Are you a soccer fan at all, Simon?
Oh yeah, I watched all the games, and I completely agree. You know, getting out of the group stage at this point, after not making it to the last World Cup, that's huge. Especially with the last game being against Iran. That was a big win. You love to see that type of thing. And then, tying England, not giving up any goals in the group stage outside of the penalty kick, which, was obviously earned in the first game. That's really big as well.
Yeah, I'm still a little upset about that one.
Yeah.
Yep, losing 1-0 to Wales. So was it Wales? No, we tied them 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So enough said about World Cup. We'll talk about it again in 2 years.
No, we'll talk about. We've got a little bit more. I think there's a really good. It's basically a semifinal matchup in the quarterfinals. You got England and France, and huge.
Big France fans over here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my wife's grandmother's from France. So
Oh wow.
Big support.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah.
A little France, a little Liechtenstein, got all sorts of blocks over there.
All those little blocks. That's
blocks
cool.
all over the place.
I did have one question on soccer.
Yes.
I know you kind of move on. If the United States were to take all their best talent and like all those other sports
You
were
mean
to
you mean if
disappear,
Tyreek Hill was our
Striker?
our right striker, and when they say, "Oh, look at that 30-yard run," well, yeah, his 30-yard run would be
we
better.
not be a contender every single time?
I always start that conversation with saying that LeBron James would be my center fullback.
or the
And
greatest.
If you're trying to come down the field,
And who would be your goalie? Refrigerator Perry?
I would put LeBron in the goal. That's what I'm saying. I think LeBron would be the greatest goalkeeper that's
probably
ever been.
probably Rodman, even at the age of 50, would probably be the greatest.
Snagging
goalie
some
ever.
bounds?
Yeah. Punch it, do whatever you want to. Yes, absolutely. If what's Mike Trout? Mike Trout is a midfielder who just likes to run and run and run.
Or Russell Westbrook,
So
one of
you-
the best
Oh,
passers.
So
in
you're saying the
basketball.
greatest athletes in the world aren't playing soccer? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
I'm saying that when you look at the greatest soccer players of the world, and I'm not underestimating the Messis of the world and how much talent it truly takes to kick a ball. And I know I just made it sound like I was slighting them when I said that. But at the end of the day, you look at them all, they're all 5'9" and weigh 164 pounds. Well, yeah, I'll take LeBron on the post. It would be crazy if our best athletes played the sport.
The headers they would get from LeBron.
It
would
just
be
hit me. I'm kind of an idea guy. It just hit me. We need to, during the off season, we need to have the NBA teams play soccer against each other.
cross training. Yeah, there you go.
And see what happens.
Well, I didn't even think about the header aspect. Okay, hey, put up the 6'10", put Durant in there. Durant, what are you going to do? I'm just going to head the ball.
Yeah.
Put it up
Bring
higher
back
than
Dikembe
anybody.
Mutombo.
No, because he'd probably not play for our country.
Oh, probably.
But that's a different story.
All right. So good luck to whoever it is you want to win the World Cup, because at this point in time, I'm not into it. So, and that's fine.
We'll talk about when Brazil wins and how awesome it was.
Yeah. Now, they didn't win last year, was it? Who was it won last year?
France.
France. That's right. Yep. All right. So let's move a little college basketball. Obviously, UNC lost 4 straight, and now they are out of the top 25. And they started out. Guess where they started out this year, Robert?
Inside the top 25?
That would be preseason number 1.
Oh,
And now they have lost 4 in a row and have fallen out of the 25 completely. That's happened 6 times before, most recently in 2019, I heard. But
I
what?
bet it didn't happen this quick.
I'm not sure that it did or not.
'Cause
But I'll tell you this. It goes back to the same thing I say about football. How useless are preseason polls?
Well, and in everything else, I sent you the NFL power
Index
rankings
from the first
from
week.
the first week.
Yeah.
And I questioned the Saints being 6 at that point, but you look at that, it's like, well, the Rams and the Packers and
Preseason
Nothing.
polls are just wasteless,
Absolutely.
worthless. So we got Houston Cougars again on top of the NCAA basketball standings. Again, first time since Akeem the Dream Olajuwon in '83, and they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, they are. But let's just point out that the only thing that they've actually won was a game at Oregon, which isn't a very good team. They've got Oral Roberts, they've got Kent State, they got Norfolk State. The interesting one is coming, though. Virginia on Saturday, 1 versus 3. That's going to clean up the air, and I think it's going to give us a new number 1 by next week. And just for the record,
I believe they're playing Alabama on Saturday. 12:10.
Alabama is playing somebody, but I believe it's Virginia and Houston on Saturday.
They're playing Saturday the 17th.
There you
Virginia
go,
and
there you go.
Houston.
Yeah, okay.
But Purdue.
Purdue's
right
got a big
now-
game this week. Yeah,
But if you look at they're actually playing the Sisters of the Mother Mary tonight.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Oh, wait. ATI,
Hofstra?
our interim.
Hofstra.
Hofstra?
Yeah.
No, they're playing Hofstra tonight. Thought I saw they had a big game.
But when you look at their schedule, they clearly have played some pretty decent games. The other team that's played some good games and is playing Alabama coming up is UConn. UConn's got a UConn already beat Alabama.
Did they?
UConn's looking really good. Purdue's looking really good. Looking at both of them.
Purdue's like 3 or 4 in the country? 4? Yeah.
And then you had Texas losing last night as well in overtime.
Yeah. We're not a big Texas fan. We got somebody in here
Even
that
against
is
the
when
Illini.
it comes to one. Huh?
Even against the Illini.
Even against the Illini.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for college basketball. Nothing great. Talk real briefly about the baseball and the Hot Stove League. A lot of big things going on. I'm a little surprised that Verlander left the Astros. But it's all about the dollars now, right? He's got another World Series trophy. He's got Kate Upton, and what else do you need besides money?
An additional $43 million per year would be nice.
Yeah, it wouldn't
But
stink.
didn't he walk away from like a $43 million contract? He told the Astros, "You can keep your 43. I'm going to go get 50 for 2 more years."
Which is surprising because with the state income tax, he's probably making a little bit less than New York.
Yeah, because he went to, is it Philly or New York?
He's a Met.
Met, that's right, yeah. He was with the Mets before, right?
No,
he
No.
was with
he was a Tiger.
Tiger, that's right. Yeah, he was.
But
Tiger.
but at the end of the day, I've always rooted for Verlander. That's definitely stopping now.
Yeah.
But Verlander for a couple of years, they did lose DeGrom, so it's not as if they added the greatest pitcher of the generation to that staff. They had to kind of supplement. And the big one's Trey Turner.
$11 million.
Trey Turner for the
11
next
years.
11 years in Philadelphia. That's a
great
nice
player.
ad.
I can't remember that long of a contract ever being written. That's a long time.
Let alone for a frisky fast guy. He's
Yeah.
basically if you play fantasy baseball, which I do, only I'm in a head-to-head league in roto leagues where it only keeps track of certain stats and certain things. He's still the number 1 player. Has
Yeah.
been for like 5 or 6 straight years.
He's unbelievable. I mean, he is over 300. His on-base percentage is
stealing
extremely
30
high.
bases.
He hits home runs, steals bases. Very talented shortstop as well, playing second base with the Dodgers over there. So he'll probably slide back into shortstop, a more important defensive position on the baseball field as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With those Mets, though, I mean, one of the things that we are looking at here, so I'm not sure if you guys have calculated any of the contracts recently, they will be paying Max Scherzer and Verlander $43 million a year, and then they'll also be paying Edwin Diaz $20 million a year. Those 3 together will be a higher payroll than only 13 teams in baseball now.
Not to mention they'll still be paying
Hey,
Bobby Bonilla.
I knew that was coming.
They are a horrible organization.
They
Keep
do
doubling
not
down.
handle their money very well.
I think they did the same thing with Edwin Diaz. I think they're stretching his contract over 15
I believe you're
years, too.
correct.
Out
I believe
until
you're
They're
after
addicted to it.
10 years after all of us are dead is
Yeah.
when Bobby Bonilla stops getting paid.
and the judge got his. He's staying in New York today.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him stay in New York.
I'm glad he's in the American
I'm
League.
happy to see somebody stay with the team. That's what I'm happy to see. I'm not a fan of transfer portals or free agency or anything, Simon. Just a
Those underdog Yankees finally getting one of their guys to stay. What a
Those poor underdog Yankees.
yeah, they've never won anything.
Or bought everything.
I was really hoping if he didn't go to the Yankees, it was the Dodgers, who's my second biggest underdog team in baseball.
Yeah.
they have
But
it tough,
as
too.
my friend Wade B said, at least he's in the American League,
Yes,
which
thank God.
is a beautiful blessing.
Yes.
And I
Andy,
think we've got to talk about modern image, but before we do, we should touch base on those Atlanta Hawks.
Let's
Who had
touch base on the Hawks.
They had a pretty decent week. They went 2-1. They won a game in Orlando and then split home a couple games at home against I think we beat the Nuggets and lost to the Thunder. But playing again tonight
the Knicks.
against the Knicks. But the interesting thing is that we are 4th in the Eastern Conference. We're leading our division and we're 4th. So as uninspired as 13-11 seems, it's not too bad. It's not too bad feeling it out through your first 23% of the season.
And we go back and we compare to like where the Golden State Warriors were a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you mentioned that last week, and I did want to say something to you then.
Well, go ahead.
I don't know why I held back. Well, Golden State didn't start out very good, but now because they have one of the 5 best players of all time. The Atlanta Hawks can't lean
The
on
best player of all time.
one of the 5 of all time. I'm willing to give him that.
Don't shake your head at me, AT. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, come on, Chuck. you know what and before we go to this commercial, can I tell you a small fantasy of mine? It's to take
Depends.
Yeah, this one's a clear one for the
Okay,
TV.
go ahead.
I would love to take Steph Curry and take him in a time machine and take him back to 1993 and drop him in Madison Square Garden against Oakley and Ewing and the rest of those wonderful gentlemen who used to wear New York Knicks jerseys.
Well, we go back to 83. When did the...
I said 93.
Oh, 93. I'm sorry.
But my only point is this. When Steph Curry comes across midcourt and throws one up, Oakley's going to throw him into the 4th row and let him shoot 2 free throws. He couldn't play any other era except for the current in the NBA. There's no other era where Steph Curry could have ever played because...
Are you saying ever?
Ever. Because people would have thrown him into the stands. Kind of a smart ass you think I'm doing. Wham! There you go.
Yeah.
Next.
Bill Laimbeer, he wouldn't put up with that crap.
Bill Laimbeer would have thrown him through the backboard shooting one from half court. Did you just pull up over Isaiah from midcourt? Whack.
I worked downtown in the early 90s and was walking through Peachtree Center one time, and here come the Pistons walking through, heading over to the Omni to play ball. And I walked right next to Laimbeer and Rodman and all those guys. Those are just big dudes, man. Yeah. Big dudes.
You know what I thought was interesting, too? Just talking about big dudes, and then we'll move on. Did you see Aaron Judge at the Buccaneers game? So Aaron Judge is wearing an Evans jersey in the tunnel, and as Tom Brady comes by, now Brady has cleats on. I'm sure Aaron Judge didn't, and all that other stuff. But there was only, a little. You forget how big an NFL player is. You see Judge playing baseball, and you're like, everybody comes up to here, but kind of like football, a lot of them
American football,
5'9" and weigh 172.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, well, we'll move on to our Modern Image commercial.
Modern Image, I love that company. I hear they just got some new business from you, Chuck.
Yeah, I always send our clients and sponsors business.
That's good. Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs. Yeah. So, all right. Speaking of dogs, let's move on to some college football. Pretty good ball games this week. I think the best game of the week was the Kansas State TCU game in terms of closeness anyway. USC got stomped by Utah. You got that game right, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a butt whooping. That kind of set off everything for the weekend. It's kind of like four played, then 3 played, and then 1 played, right? And then 2 played because Michigan played last on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was nice having that first game on Friday night because you knew it really set Saturday up for,
Set the tone up for what was going on.
A lot of excitement, a lot of different cities.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was cool. And I told somebody I watched the game with Saturday that I'd say something nice about Georgia. So let me go ahead and get that get it out of the way. Georgia played a good football game. Some of the weirdest things I've ever seen in 2 plays, like almost in a row, with the blocked field goal. And then the next possession that Ohio State, they throw a interception off of the doink helmet, and the guy catches it and doesn't run it back for a touchdown, but eventually Georgia scores. But Georgia went ahead, won 50-30, is that right?
50 points. 50 points in an SEC championship game.
And they stopped trying in the 4th quarter to score.
Absolutely. Whenever you put up a 50 spot, I think they were the 5th team to ever put up a 50 spot in the SEC championship
I don't know if they
game.
stopped trying. They still had Stetson Bennett in there until they took a knee, like less than a minute.
I love, there's so many things that this brain can't remember, but I assure you one thing. What's our new buddy down in LSU? Head coach?
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly won't forget Mr. going for 2.
Yep.
When you're up 48-24
and you're going for 2.
Goes, we're going for 2 because we want a 50 spot on you. That one will come back.
That one will
haunt
come
at
back to
some
get you.
point.
That was
At some
definitely a
point.
message Kirby was trying to send over there to Brian Kelly. He
Probably-
doesn't do that to other SEC coaches as much. He's more gentle with them. It
Yeah.
seems.
Well, but hey, at the end of the day, he doesn't want anybody to fall in love with Michigan and feel like, hey, let's leapfrog that. He's looking to put a 50 spot up. Make sure he's the number 1 team because he wants to pick where his next game is.
Yep.
And but like he's gonna pay for that one at some point. But hey, you do what you do when you can.
So going along with that theme, did the committee get the 4 right?
Absolutely.
Go ahead and talk, Chuck.
I just don't think that Ohio State should have been there. As bad a whipping as they took at home against Michigan, and that there was a 22-point loss or something like that, and the 2 games that Bama lost were 1 point and 2 points, so 3 points total with 2 losses, right? And I understand the whole thing with 2 losses and that stuff, but are you supposed to get the better teams in there? Are you supposed to get the championships? It's very hard. And you just we talked about this last week. 3 weeks ago, we talked about there might be 3 SEC teams in the Final Four, and now there's 2 Big Ten, in which I'm saying all year the Big Ten is probably stronger top to bottom than the SEC is.
Okay, but stop there. Okay, I let you talk, so now you just got to stop talking.
I'm going to listen to you, buddy.
Because you are no longer lucid. What I'm here to tell you is the reason why 2 Big Ten teams are in the finals are because they didn't have to play anything but Rutgers all year. So cut a little bit of a team of slack. There's a reason why Tennessee and Alabama right there on the doorstep. I personally don't think Alabama ever stood a chance of getting in because the committee has always said head-to-head is huge, and I don't see them having 2 teams next to each other and giving the nod to the team that lost that game. But at the end of the day, they got the teams right. We talked on this show in the spring that the 2 teams in this year you didn't want to mess with were Alabama and Ohio State because they both had chips on their shoulder from last year. Well, we don't have to worry about Bama, but now all of a sudden coming right for Big Red here is Ohio State, and they've already had 2 weeks of practicing, being told how awful they are and everything else. It's a scary game for Georgia.
So do you think the spread's about right?
I think spreads
7. It's about 7, isn't it?
I think spreads are good, but it's
Listen, you know me.
a motivated team.
There'll be nobody happier than me if Ohio State wins. I guarantee you. I don't care who they win at Ohio State. I will be happy as can be. But I just don't see it. And they couldn't move Ohio State to 3. I think this is why TCU stayed there, because they didn't want that immediate Ohio State and Michigan rematch.
Absolutely.
And I, again, think that may be why they didn't want Alabama in there to play against Georgia.
The same thing. You were going to have to vault Alabama or Tennessee to 3.
Yep.
And you weren't going to do that. So the only other thing you could have done is take Michigan, have Michigan overtake Georgia, and then slide them in their normal.
So I think they did the right thing keeping TCU at 3. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where they belong. They're a good football team.
I tell you that kid,
Duggan?
he deserves so much Heisman love. I don't know if he's going to get it. I don't know that he's the guy you're looking for to lead your NFL team for the next 15 years. But damn, that was a lot of heart. That was a lot of heart.
He's got a lot of it, doesn't he?
Man, well, and he left a lot of it on that field. He was laying face down a couple times.
I'm very upset about the first down from the 2, and they can't get in.
How did they not sneak
Or
that
the 6,
football?
Now,
because they didn't sneak that football.
Yeah, how did they
I
not
know
do
it.
that?
I know. Well, Duggan was exhausted. I know that, but he needed to gut it out and run one play. But here's my question: to get inside, to get where they got, Miller, the running back, he had a big run from like the 34, and he went and stepped out at the 10-yard line. If he's thinking, don't you step out at the 12 or the 11? I mean, I want a chance to get another first down and not having to go all the way in from the 10.
And I love Franco Harris, but I'm looking for somebody who's going to lower his shoulder and get down to the 6.
Yeah,
I don't want anybody
he
running out of
physically
bounds.
ran out of bounds at the 10. So if you have a chance, step out at the 12. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
Step out at the 12, and let's have 8 downs to get in instead of 4. So just a pet peeve of mine, something I noticed. in the game. I said, no, don't step out at the 10.
That's one of those don't go into the end zone when you got
Which
the ball.
which
type.
happened which happened in pro football.
Pro football. It was Jonathan Taylor? No, it was
Mika
Fitzpatrick. That's right.
And smartest play you'll see all year. Caught it and could have been a pick 6 because he intercepted it at the 12-yard line and ran out of bounds at the 5, knowing that one knee ends the game.
Yeah.
You start kicking off and
you
all
never
sorts
know
of
what's
crazy
going to
stuff.
happen. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about who we think are going to win the semifinal games. We talked about a little bit about Georgia and OSU, and is Smith Njinka, whoever said he's not playing, but he's been out all year, right? He's been hurt pretty much the whole year.
He hasn't. He played a little bit.
Played
one
a couple of
game, then
games,
re-injured
yeah.
himself again.
And then he removed himself. But they played pretty good without him. Georgia's got to be a little concerned that LSU put up 500 yards in the air on them.
At the end of the day, Ohio State has all the talent in that locker room. Regardless of how they looked between September and December 1st, they've got enough talent to where they could wax anybody. So you got to be careful.
Yep, and I think it's cool that it's on New Year's Eve. It'll save a lot of people from going out and getting drunk on the road and all these people.
I think that does the opposite, but go ahead.
Well, because the game kicks off at 8, so it's probably not going to be over until midnight. So
There's a lot of wives who are not happy it's on New Year's Eve.
yeah, absolutely,
Just,
because
FYI there.
Where are we going this year, honey?
downstairs, downstairs to the big room to watch it. That's kind of cool. I got a good friend that he has 4 tickets. Mark War, how you doing? Mark's got 4 tickets to the Southeastern Championship game every year, and we were talking. I said, why don't you just put them online and see what you get? So the day they announced it was LSU, he put them online for $1,000 a ticket. LSU fan within an hour called it. He sold 4 tickets for $4,000. He paid like $80 face value for him or something like that.
No,
so that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So that was a big game for LSU. The bowl games, there's some really funky matchups, and we'll talk about the bowl games next week probably a good bit because we're going to set up a contest that we're going to have here on Three Guys Who Love Sports.
Hey, speaking of bowl games, though, real quick, Chuck, I've gotten a lot of fan interaction in the last week. They've been emailing me and calling me and asking me, what does Chuck feel about the Liberty Bowl? Because
Kansas and Arkansas?
Yeah, that Kansas Arkansas game. Because our fans are just dying to know what you think about that. You were worried about BYU prior to. How do you feel about Arkansas?
I feel about their chances being better against Arkansas than they would have against Brigham Young.
Yeah. SEC, such a weak conference. Worst thing Chuck could have ever got. Do me a favor. Don't put 2 points on it, and don't double your bet or anything
I've already
else.
doubled the bet.
I know.
So that's all you. Steve and I talked. Steve is who my bets are with, and we talked about it yesterday.
Stop taking this man's money.
Don't get Steve going on that.
Arkansas is going to run for 417 yards in this game.
And Kansas is going to throw for 600.
Kansas is only going to have the ball for 7 minutes.
And they'll score 50 points. So I haven't seen the spread on that game. So that'll be interesting. We'll get into that in the bowl picks next week. But that should be a good game. I thought about that. That was the first thing I did on Sunday once they announced the bowl 6 or whatever it is. And then I said, I got to go see where Kansas is. It's Arkansas.
So let me ask, who's got Georgia?
I do.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Who's got TCU?
Not me.
Me neither.
Yeah. So
I would have preferred to play TCU in the first round. As you guys mentioned, they're not going to Ohio State, Michigan again. But if they were, I know you don't think Ohio State should be in the playoff, but.
Well, I don't know if I don't agree that they have to be in the playoffs. Because I understand the whole 2-loss thing, but Robert and I were texting back and forth, and he took Ohio State. And I said, I'll just take Alabama just because it's different. But I could always come up with a rationale for why that is. So I'm not really shocked that they're in there. It's just fodder, I guess.
I think the appropriate one would have been if TCU losing, TCU 4, Ohio State 3, Michigan 2, Georgia 1.
But you couldn't.
That never would have happened because the bowl committee doesn't want to have.
Correct. At the end of the day, they line them up and they tell you this is what we think. But at the end of the day, we're not going to give you a repeat of anything.
It's just like when Georgia and Alabama played the national championship. They don't mind that. but they don't want it in the semis.
Correct.
Right.
We want you to see that game after they dismantle the other two teams.
You have to,
Okay.
You have to
Well,
earn the
all right.
rebound.
Well, let's play a little hypothetical then. Let's say Ohio State does beat Georgia.
Yep.
And Michigan does beat
Yep.
TCU. Does Michigan beat Ohio State again?
Ooh, tough one. 3 in a row for Mr. Khaki? I'm going to say no.
I would say yes.
I think if that game happens, Stroud throws 7 touchdowns and what's his name? Marvin Harrison Jr. has 4 of them.
Well, you know, there's always that there. You can't beat a team twice in the year. Didn't happen with Kansas State and TCU. Did happen with Utah and USC. So I always kind of believe that theory, and I missed on both those games in the dub.
It did not happen last year with Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
It is, but it doesn't hold a lot of water. It doesn't hold a lot of water because those games don't matter, and it's just motivation now.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about the games on the 31st, and we'll see what happens. Michigan, they play earlier in the day, I guess. Michigan and TCU play earlier in the day.
4 o'clock, probably
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
And then
8
the
o'clock.
Peach Bowl's at 7:30 or 8:30 or something like that. So that should be fun. National champion, I'm going to go Michigan.
Going Michigan over the Dogs.
Yep.
How bad is Michigan going to win that game?
It's going to be a lot closer than the Michigan-Georgia game from last year. I think Michigan's grown up a little bit as a team. I think they've got a better offensive line. And, McCarthy proved that he could throw the ball if he has to. He did against Ohio State.
He did against Ohio State,
when they
but
filled
those
up the
people
box
were
and
running wide open.
well, that was-
Zero coverage.
Zero coverage.
The
They're
second,
not going to see that.
the second
on
half,
Kirby's
we
team.
saw the real Michigan run the ball with not Corum, the second round back, Anderson.
The guy with the cast on his hand. Right?
Yeah, guy was cast in his hand, and he ran 2 touchdowns.
Edwards?
They had 4 touchdowns of over 45 yards against Ohio State.
Correct. They broke down, and somewhere they stopped, they sighed, and they lost control of that game. That team's pretty good still though.
Michigan,
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Yeah. So I think it'll be a very close ball game, but I'm going to take Michigan if it's Georgia and Michigan. Yeah.
I'm going Dogs. No reason to think not. I do want to bring this up though. Heisman, 4 visitors.
Well, wait. Let's get Simon's pick first.
Oh, yeah. Big time Dogs.
He's
Are
going
you a Dogs fan?
Oh, yeah.
Who invited him on this show?
You did.
All right.
More
let's
Dogs
move,
fans here.
So let's move on to the Heisman.
So Heisman, if this was 30 years ago, actually, let's see, 33 years ago, Stetson Bennett's the winner of the Heisman.
You think so?
That's what they used to give it to. They used to give it to the best player on the best team. And then somewhere in the last 10 or 15 years, they started putting that, that person usually has potential at the next level.
Yeah.
Is Stetson better than Jalen Carter?
I'm not sure who Stetson's better than, but
I'm a little surprised he even got in the Final Four. To be honest, I hadn't heard anything all year about him being
Why
in.
would you? But then at the end of the day, once again, if this was 30 years ago, he'd already won it. He'd already been locked up. The guy's going for his 2nd straight national championship.
Yeah. Well, so who do you think should win it? Out of the 4, is it Williams and Stroud?
I don't think Stroud because of that game. He
Because
only
of the
lost.
Michigan game.
He only lost that one, but he didn't play an extra game. Williams, he looked kind of rough in that game
Against Utah.
but he was
not a
getting his
good
butt
game.
kicked and he kept showing up. So the little kudos to him as far as his toughness. But man, Max won for me. If I had a vote,
I'd vote Max Duggan.
He got it on that. When he was laying face down on the ground. No, you got to get up. We need it again. Yeah, that was some pretty good stuff.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, he's a tough little running back, too. He runs the ball well. But my whole thing is he wasn't even supposed to be the quarterback the first of the year. First game, somebody else got hurt. Well, let's throw in Duggan, and here he goes. And not only that, TCU wasn't in the top 25 when the year started. And he took them on his shoulders, and he put them on his back, and he took them to the CFP playoffs, which is pretty amazing from a non-25 team.
Although some people would argue that TCU should have lost to Kansas State earlier in the year if Kansas State's two quarterbacks didn't get injured and they had to run with their third string.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's quite possible.
And they wouldn't even.
But injuries are always a part of the game.
And you're absolutely correct. And TCU trailed in 8 straight games at one point during the year, but they won. They won all those games, and that's why they're ahead of Tennessee at this point.
At least we all agree that they are 3. We all agree that they need to be in the 3
They had to be based on this. Now, in 2 years, once there's 12 teams, they would have they would have changed this all up. They would have changed this all up. These would not be the same rankings.
I say in 2 years, Kennesaw State will be in the top 12.
There's a good chance of that.
All right, our friend Maynard G. Krebs just walked into the bar, so
I know he agrees with that.
I know he gave me a big thumbs up. All right, so let's do our. We need to do our Bearcat Express commercial. I'm wearing their shirt today, as always, first Wednesday of the month.
Do you need a delivery right now? As in go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Athens, Dothan to Atlanta, or Augusta to Charlotte, and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com.
Thank you, Blair Cook, for being a sponsor, and David McDonough at Modern Image. We thank you both for your year-long sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Happy to have you be a part of the team. So let's move into the NFL, and I learned something new this week. Let's see if anybody out there in the Miller's audience knows this, even Maynard G. Krebs. Who is the most winning team in the NFL history? What team has won the most games in the NFL history? ATI thinks he knows. Mouth it for me. It is the Green Bay Packers. And thanks to Robert, he texted me this weekend to tell me about it.
I said it last week on the show.
Oh,
That's
did
why
you?
he knows.
Oh.
He pays
Oh,
close
so Adam
attention.
pays attention to you, or I don't, is what he said.
Yeah, well, possibly so.
But I thought about it Sunday when Green Bay, because Chicago was up, and then
Correct.
Green Bay came back and won.
Chicago has had the all-time lead since 1921, and they were tied going into Sunday. Now it's Green Bay. Personally, if you'd have asked me and I gave the question a lot of thought, I'd have said Green Bay has been for a long time. I would not have thought that the
It
Bears
just
were,
now took it over. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how long the Bears had to be bad for before Green Bay was able to catch up to them.
Because in the 40s and early 50s, the Bears were it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Papa Hallis.
Let me give you a stat. And this is an old stat, and I don't get stats perfect, but it's okay. Our fans love us anyway.
Absolutely.
I remember a stat from, I want to say early 90s, mid-90s, that said the Buccaneers are so horrible and have been horrible for so long. If they went undefeated for the next 16 years, their franchise would still be under 500.
Oh, my God.
So you start putting those numbers together, and
That's
that's
pretty
that's one of those
awful.
numbers that it's getting worse from now, even though you think, well, they've won a couple Super Bowls. Yeah, but to get those numbers going in the right direction, it just keeps getting further and further from home. So, yeah, kudos to the Packers for having more wins than everybody.
Ever.
And yeah, the Buccaneers are the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Falcons are number 3 on that list.
Falcons are like number 26, right behind the Saints. Saints got a couple more wins than us, but
Oh, yeah?
we're pretty close.
Yeah, sounds about right. All right. The biggest game, I think, of this past weekend was Cincinnati and Kansas City, right?
That was a great game.
Yep. Bengals took it over. And like we talked last week, they just Mahomes just doesn't play well on the road. Kansas City doesn't play well in Cincinnati. And it came to fruition that they got beat. And now we've got a situation where Kansas City's, 9-3? Miami's 8-4. Buffalo's 8-3, or they're a half game behind or a half game ahead of Kansas City. I can't remember what it is. But they got the same number of losses, I know that. But because Buffalo beat Kansas City, Buffalo now has the home field advantage.
Correct.
Which they want, right? Everybody wants home field
Everybody
advantage.
wants it, but it's still, I told you last week that they would never get it back because it was going to be such a daunting task, and then, of course, it happened in the first week.
Yeah.
But, the rest of the schedule is still favoring Kansas City dramatically. This is a team that gets to play Denver twice. I learned the other day, do you know Mahomes has still never lost to Denver? I think he's 9-0 in his career against Denver. So, he gets them twice, and, Buffalo's still got some tough games. I think Buffalo has Cincinnati and Miami. So, and kudos to Joe Cool. I know we're talking about, well, Mahomes does. That Cincinnati team seems like they're going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I watched the pregame shows on NFL Sunday, and a lot of the people have the Bengals in the top 4 teams in the league. And I don't know that I can see that, but I know Marlon Longacre was unhappy about it because he texted me, "Who day?"
But why wouldn't you believe it? Is it that you think probably Kansas City is the best team, right?
No, I think Buffalo's still the best team. Now, they also lost their rusher they got from Los Angeles.
Who are we talking about?
Defensive lineman or linebacker. From
Von Miller.
Von Miller,
Von
yeah.
Miller.
Von Miller's out with a torn ACL now for the rest of the year.
Yep, that's a big loss.
That's a huge loss for them. So, I mean, I still got to go with Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC Championship again.
But if you think Kansas City is probably the second best team,
Yeah.
and Joe Burrow's beat them 3 times in a row, once in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
I think you need to not.
But
be
you got to
so
beat
amazed.
everybody. But you got to beat everybody else, not just Kansas City.
Oh no, and they did last year, except for the horrible Rams
Yeah.
at this point. So,
Yeah.
The
horrible this year Rams.
horrible this year Rams.
Yeah. Yep. So do you think Kansas City? So you think Kansas City is going to get the number 1 seed in the AFC?
No, I think it's going to be close, but I think Kansas City still has an easier schedule.
Yeah. Pull it up. Who does Buffalo have left? I know you had it.
I had it last week, so I can just go look here.
Yeah, let's look real quick.
2 games.
I know they
against-
have Miami at home,
Yep.
where they got beaten the Heat in Miami. That was their first loss.
2 games for the Chiefs against the Broncos is that's just 2 guaranteed victories right there. Russell Wilson has been a horrible trade for the Broncos so far this year.
Yeah, and yet he's still getting paid millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
So the Bills have the Jets,
That's
the
a win.
Dolphins.
It's a Jets game. They lost to the Jets.
Both of those are at home.
Yeah, they lost to the Jets in
Jets?
New York, right,
Jets,
Sean?
Dolphins, at Chicago, at Cincinnati, New England.
It's a tough schedule.
So Cincinnati's the toughest game on that schedule.
And Miami and New England's never that easy. So you got 2 pretty tough games.
Is the New England game at home against
It's
Buffalo?
at home. It's
Okay.
at home, but it's
Where we hope they play no matter if there's snow or not.
yeah, they've already let us down once there.
Yes,
So
they have.
This is Kansas City's at Denver, at Houston, Seattle and Denver at home, and then at Vegas.
That's pretty weak.
That's but they played a lot of the bigger games earlier in the year. They've already played San Francisco. They've already played Cincinnati. They've already played Buffalo.
Yep, they've got through the tough, and they were 2-1 in those games, right?
That's correct.
Yep.
1-2. Lost to the Bengals and lost to the Bills.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, who do you think is going to win out of the AFC?
Well, I'm agreeing. I think the Chiefs are going to go through. I love Pat Mahomes. That schedule is just too easy to pass up. And losing Von Miller is just such a huge loss for the Buffalo Bills defense.
They're thinking he'll be back at playoff time, correct?
I don't
Torn
think
ACL.
so.
Oh,
Torn
he
ACL.
is,
He's toast for the year. Yeah. So I mean, they've had the defensive injuries all year long in Buffalo. I mean, they've lost safeties and cornerbacks. They always fill in the gaps somehow. But we'll see what happens with that. Let's switch over to the NFC. And who do we think's the number 1 squad there? Because that's probably more up for grabs than just the 2. Because we still don't think Miami's going to catch any of the other 2, right?
No.
No, but they do have there's a lot of teams you do not want to play.
Yeah.
And having the Dolphins come to town is probably the second worst thing that's going to happen in week 1 of the wild card round.
Their offense
The number
is
one
electric.
the number 1 worst thing is going to be when the Cowboys show up in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Because that's almost a virtual lock for the first round of the playoffs, because whoever wins the NFC South is going to have the worst record, and none of the wild card teams are going to have as many wins as the Cowboys. That's almost already a shoo-in. So that is going to be your matchup week 1, and whew, I think
Not pretty.
Tom's going to have a hard time finding another ring after he starts with that game.
Yes, it will. And because Dallas will be the number 1 wild card seed
That's correct.
behind the Eagles, right? Because the Eagles will probably win that division.
Eagles will win. And so either way, even if the Cowboys catch the Eagles, that means the Eagles are going to go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Either way, Tampa Bay is
Tommy's
not
not
looking,
going past.
Not looking good.
Tommy's
for
not
him.
going past the wild card game.
It is not looking good.
All right. So we talk about Philadelphia. We talk about the Vikings. They're now starting to run Dalvin Cook a little bit. Are the Vikings the number one seed in the NFC? After the
Season's
fantasy
over.
season's
Thanks, Minnesota.
Oh, you're still in the playoffs.
well,
You're still
not,
good.
not in the league that I had Dalvin Cook.
Oh, okay. All right. So who do we like in the NFC?
Definitely the Eagles. I mean, they're the best team, obviously. Their offense is electric, and their defense is excellent. They're getting some of those guys back as well. The Vikings just lost 40-3 to the Cowboys recently, so I can't be pulling
They
for
lose
them.
that much to the Cowboys? 40-3?
I'm not going to mess with a block.
Okay. Don't go against the block.
And then they also lost earlier in the year to the Eagles 24-7, so they're two
But
biggest
they also
rivals.
went to Buffalo and beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you've got the Giants, Seattle, and Washington for those last two spots. The next team is Detroit with 5 wins.
God.
So you know that's what you're going to get.
They're not getting in the
Detroit's not getting
No,
in, which
Detroit's
means
not
it's
getting in.
basically, which, you know, now that tie, I've always said this too, so I'll go ahead and say it to you. Ties always help when it comes playoff time. So know that tie between the Giants and the Redskins, although Seattle passed them this week, by the end of the year, that extra tie bumps up your winning percentage just a hair. So don't be surprised if both of the NFC least teams get in because of that tie.
I'm still going to go with 3 of them. I think the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Fighting Heinekes are in. I don't see
Them Giants.
them Giants getting in.
Oh, the
They-
Giants are bad, but that
Yeah.
tie helps.
Yep, it does. Sadly, Tampa Bay, they might even win the South with a losing record.
They could do it.
Yeah.
Happened one time not too long ago in,
And it was in the
NFC
NFC
West.
South. Oh, was it West?
Yeah, it was like the Cardinals, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 7-9. That's right.
What a
Horrible
horrible
football.
division. Oh,
Horrible
my God.
football.
Yeah. Well, we're on the Robert train. Robert wants the Falcons to lose every game they play
So
to
do you
get
know-
that best draft pick. So we're all
Yep.
about
We
that.
definitely need the draft pick.
Do you know what happened this weekend?
Mm-mm.
We moved up 5 spots.
Did we
5.
really?
We were fifth. We were drafting 15th going into this weekend. We're up to 10th. Every team that was right next to us won, and I mean it was just beautiful. It was
Don't you
one
love
after
that?
another after another.
So
And there's
you-
a lot of 4-win teams that once those 4-win teams lose or start winning, we lose a lot of tiebreakers with them. So you know, I think there's a good shot that we could get as high as 6.
So
That
you-
will give Fontenot a great chance to take another tight end really high or a wide receiver or someone like
oh
that.
no, let's not do
There's
that.
a Falcon fan. I
He
love
knows
it.
his Falcons, yeah. Do you like? Oh, you know, we haven't had Simon on the show before. Do you like Arthur Smith? Because we both are enamored with what he's doing.
I think he's spectacular. I mean,
Yeah.
to take the
Are you sure he's
Talent.
kin to Larry?
He's spectacular.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my grandfather's his dad's brother, so we're a little branched out there. A little
Very
bit.
split.
Yeah. Arthur Smith has taken one of the worst rosters in my memory and allowed us to win 5 football games and be in almost every single one of them
With Mariota.
with Mariota, who is an awful quarterback, mind you. It's spectacular what he's done with the roster. Next year, all of that dead cap money's falling off. If Fontenot does some good things, we're a playoff team, no doubt.
And I
agree
was
with you.
looking something up as far as all of the free agents that are available.
Oh, so many.
And there's so many. It's hard to analyze the list because it's so overwhelming. You know, there's 50 people on each thing. But, you know, that extra $70 million, I think it's real easy. You get a couple big defensive linemen who are coming out of that rookie contract. You go, hey, I'll give you the money for 4 years, and you line those two. You bring another offensive lineman, a big mean guard, and then you draft another tight end and kid from USC, and then we'll complain about something else.
Darnell Washington, hopefully, if we're going to take one, he can play offensive lineman too.
Yeah. Felipe Franks has got to go. That's all I can say.
He's bad. All he does is cause penalties, and he doesn't even catch the football.
Can't catch
You
the
just
football.
better
There you go.
you just better be glad
But
Felipe Franks
he's
isn't in the
Arthur
Liberty
Smith's-
Bowl.
But he's Arthur Smith's kind of athlete.
Yep.
So very just like the rugby guy. I mean, just very utilitarian. He can do a lot of things.
Number 44 as well. He played like wide receiver, quarterback, running back, linebacker, all in college too.
So we all three like the direction the Falcons are heading.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into our picks for this week in the pro games. First off, we thought Sean was going to be gone, but he's here, but I still picked the Jets just for him. So the Jets are getting 9.5 at Buffalo. Go ahead, Simon.
I've got Buffalo. I think that the Jets, while they have Mike White and he's been a little bit better than the last guy, that Buffalo's just too good right now.
I'll go with Buffalo as well.
You know, I don't like to go the same as anybody sitting on that side of the table. Do you know what Bam has done, Bam Knight, in the last 2 weeks?
No.
Bam Knight is the running back for the Jets, and he's got 100 yards from scrimmage in both games.
Against?
It doesn't matter. In his very first 2 NFL games, he's got 100 yards in each game. He is only the second undrafted player to ever accomplish that feat. Now, the first one's kind of underwhelming. Philip Lindsay.
Okay.
Still looking for a job not too long ago. But you think of all the running backs who have never been drafted, which there's quite a few.
Oh, there's a lot out there.
And that's the position that is becoming more and more that way. Like, we'll just take a couple guys from the SEC at the end of the draft and go from there. But impressive start for the NC State grad.
So you're going to go Jets, I guess.
I'm going Jets.
Jets, Jets.
Bills will win. Bam will keep it close.
All right. Philly -7 at the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. I guess they still play in the Meadowlands. Huh?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they're still on the other side of the Hudson.
Yep. I'm going to take the Phillies, the Philadelphia Eagles. They just
Is Harper playing?
yeah, he is. Bryce
Harper
is,
and Turner?
now we're getting
They
back.
got Trey Turner at running
Yeah,
back.
we're getting back. Trey Turner's running back. Bryce Harper's middle linebacker. So I'll take Philly.
I'll take Philly as well.
Yeah.
The Giants implosion is not done. I think you're probably right. I think they're probably out.
I've got the Eagles as well.
And Simon goes with the Eagles as well. Okay, now this third game is probably the most intriguing to me. Baltimore is getting 2.5 at Pittsburgh.
With a backup quarterback.
With a backup quarterback. I understand that, but Pittsburgh's on a backup quarterback too, right?
Well,
He's
Pittsburgh's
become their
backup quarterback
starter.
was their number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So it's a little different for them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have a really good Baltimore team that couldn't hold any leads against any good teams in the year to start the year,
Yeah.
and now they got a backup quarterback. So
Yeah.
I understand Vegas's apprehension on that, but I'm not impressed with either team. I'm gonna say Baltimore because I think Dobbins is going to come back, and I think that horrible backfield in Baltimore where each guy gets 4 carries is getting ready to stop.
That J.K. Dobbins guy from OSU?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's going to start getting 15, 20 carries a game.
And you, Mr. Simon?
I've got Pittsburgh this week. Kenny Pickett's looked a lot better recently. He stopped turning the ball over. And then their defense, since they got T.J. Watt back, has been spectacular.
What?
T.J. Watt.
What?
Watt. I think that Baltimore without their quarterback, they looked horrible last week against the Broncos, who are a very bad team.
Without Lamar Jackson? Yeah, they won like 11-10 or something like that.
10-9.
Yeah,
10-9, yeah, I knew it was a one-point game. Yeah.
Horrible.
All right, the Fins against the Chargers. The Fins are laying 3 at L.A. at SoFi Stadium.
We were talking a little bit about who had possible home field advantage last week, and there was a chance that Miami was one of those teams. And going into this year, there was a chance the Chargers were one of those teams. And I started thinking about it. When was the last time Southern teams that played outdoors were good? It was the early 80s. Kellen Winslow's Chargers, Dan Marino's Dolphins, having AFC championship games in 88-degree weather.
I don't like it.
It's not going to happen this year. I'm going for the Fins to bounce back, but no, this is a tough game for the Fins to bounce back because I don't believe they came home this week. So they played at San Francisco.
Yeah, they stayed out on the West Coast.
They stayed out. So that can either make you focus or just make you deliriously stupid.
I'm doing Fins as well.
I've got Miami as well.
All right.
What is up with the Chargers?
I don't know.
I mean,
They
they
had a
got
lot.
Eckler. He's playing.
They
like
got
a-
Eckler right.
got a
Keenan
great
Allen
quarterback.
finally came back.
Yeah, I thought Keenan Allen was dead for a little bit. He disappeared off the team.
Yeah, he was my number 2 round draft pick in my fantasy league and
Yes.
didn't play for 8 freaking weeks.
Your team must be dead as well.
No, because Mahomes is my quarterback.
There
But
you go.
yes, his team is dead now.
Yeah.
I am now. I'm 5-7, but I was like number 2 or 3 in scoring in the league. I just played the wrong weeks. All right. So our last game of the week is we talked about Tom Brady and Mr. Is he 46 yet or is he still 45?
He's 57.
57 years old. No, that's good. All right. And they're playing at San Francisco, getting 3.5 against the broken leg Garoppolos and Brock Purdy.
I got a question. When Carolina let their quarterback go last night, I knew I was going to wake up and he was going to be in San Francisco.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I woke up this morning and I heard the word California, and I knew I was right again. And then it wasn't until like this afternoon where I found out why would
Why would the Rams?
3-9. What are they trying to play for?
I don't know what they're trying to play for. The only thing that tells me is maybe they're just trying to block him. Just saying the Niners will get him. I'll pay $1 million to make sure the Niners can't have that guy.
That's
Is
a
that
fantasy.
is that-
I'm sure that can happen.
especially with those two teams. I'm
Yeah,
just,
absolutely. Yeah.
That's a perfect petty mindset that I definitely appreciate in teams like this.
Absolutely. I
Have-
mean, if you were able to stop the Saints from getting the piece that they needed, and you were a Falcons,
100%.
Having known you only an hour, I can see that in you.
Yes, yes.
That's
I've
not
done
a
that.
bad thing.
I've done that in fantasy football before.
Yeah.
I've done it too.
All right.
I'm
So
kind of ashamed by some of
I'm going to take the 49ers. I just don't see Miami going out there and
After ATI mentioned Brock Purdy's name last week, and we had never had a Brock Purdy mention, now all of a sudden the guy's one of the best 32. He's got one of the greatest jobs.
he's
in
one of
the
the
world.
best 32 in the
Well,
league.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, if you're the starter, you're the one. You know.
You're the guy. So you're for the punching Purdies? If we're going to call them the fighting Heineke's?
You know, you look at what Butt Chin Brady did this week. Amazing again. Down 16-3 with 3.5 minutes to go. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns against that defense to pull that game out.
Yeah.
I'll take the Niners. And Purdy.
Purdy. Ain't he Purdy?
I'll be definitely taking the Niners. They're not playing against the bad Saints this week or trying to lose, anymore.
You think the Saints are trying to lose? You think the Falcons are trying to lose?
I do.
Do you?
Well, you don't play Marcus Mariota for as many weeks as you do if you're not trying to win.
Well, we've been arguing for a couple of weeks about let's get Ritter in there and see what he can do for next year, whether we need to draft a quarterback or not. Why aren't we doing that?
You have to. I think after the bye week, we'll see Ritter in there. I think he wanted to not put him in a bad situation, give him that full week of practice and things like that beforehand. And he also wanted to be out of the playoffs, which we are now because obviously.
Technically, we're not out of the playoffs.
4%,
so.
thank God. There's a chance.
Yeah.
But, it does scare me because I know at the beginning of the year, a lot of people thought maybe by week 8 he could be starting. And the other side of that coin was always after the bye week. And God, I hope the people who've been saying that all year are right.
Well,
I don't
there's-
want to see him.
There's one prediction I can make tonight that I know is right. The Falcons will not win this weekend. So
Thank God.
I feel pretty
We're also
pretty
not
safe
gonna
about that.
lose.
That's
They
true.
might find a way to lose.
Yeah, they might.
Watch the 11 o'clock news.
If
All
we
right.
start Mariota again, we're losing. that bye
Exactly.
week.
So very quick before we sign off, we are going to announce a contest. We're going to be picking all the bowl games. So you people out there with your brains on think that you know how to pick the bowl games. We will pick them with the spreads. So we will be broadcasting them next week and posting them on 3guyswhoLoveSports.com. And we want you to participate. We're going to put together a gift package for you that will include a gift certificate from Modern Image, gift certificate from here at Miller's Ale House, and there's nowhere else, no telling where else we might come up with something. Maybe some KSU tickets from our buddy Carrick over there. So who knows? But until then, Robert, always a good show.
I got one more for you. I forgot about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on both of your thoughts on Dion
Oh, and going to Colorado?
going to Colorado.
I think Dion going to Colorado is fine, but I don't think I liked his speech very much. That you said saying you may go ahead and transfer.
You might as well go now. I got somebody else ready to play that position already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with him making the move to Colorado. The way he did it is the issue I've had with it. Not only is he telling people to transfer, but he's bringing his son in there and saying, hey, this is your starting
Here's
quarterback.
your starting quarterback. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, at the end of the day, I had a conversation with a guy. You know, at a historically black college, he was able to grab players from other HBCUs and a couple other players and have them transfer in.
Because he's Dion.
Because he's Dion. And he will be able to do that again. The only difference is in a conference we're not even sure how good it is. This is the worst team.
Yep.
This team is 1-11. This isn't like taking a 6-6 Kansas team and putting them over the top. This is a horrendous team. So I'm rooting for you, Dion, but don't everybody hold their breath
That he's the savior in Colorado.
Yeah, they're going to make the end of the year tournament anytime soon.
maybe it'll be 2-10 next year with
Maybe
Dion
so.
players.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
center.
Well, again, Robert, thanks as always, buddy. Simon, what a pleasure, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And, guys, don't forget, take care of yourselves, check your numbers, get your ass covered. And we'll talk to you next week on Three Guys Who Love Sports.